So, time for Brain Tank. You've quizzed me for 2 weeks straight previous, so it's my turn to give it a shot.
What do you got?
So, this is somewhat related to some recent news that we'll be covering at some point, and hopefully you'll like that video as well. Now, you may have a guess as to what it is.
I think so, no.
Okay. Well, it is...
It's not what I was guessing.
the Space Shuttle.
I was totally wrong. I was gonna say Star Wars. Nope.
No, we're saving that for... We should do, like whenever the new movie comes out. No, that's
Christmas.
Next year. Yeah.
We could do it if I'll come back.
Yeah, so we can do a special showing of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so because of recent developments with NASA, with the Orion spacecraft...
It's space.
I thought, okay, let's go back to America's most prolific launch vehicle, being defined as the one that carried the most amount of people up there. So...
I'm in. Let's do this.
Yes. Now, all of these shuttles, specifically the orbiters that go up into orbit, there have been many, many flights, and the question, true or false, is all orbiters, except for Challenger, cumulatively traveled more than 1 AU, or the distance between the Earth and the Sun, during their lifetimes in space.
Let me say true.
Yes, that is true.
Thank you very much.
Every single one of them was, except for Challenger, had enough flights in orbit that an entire AU was traveled.
That is
or
the
more.
distance to the sun.
So that is a
100
whole
million
lot.
miles. Yeah. That's a lot of miles. Your car won't get that many miles.
So the Space Shuttle program lasted for 30 years. That's many presidential
Elections?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Or presidents?
And presidents. And that's actually the question.
Oh.
So, true or false, was Bill Clinton the only sitting president to go to an actual launch?
I'm gonna say false.
It is actually true. Clinton was the only one to go to a launch. Obama was actually scheduled to go to the second to last launch, but because of weather delays, the launch got delayed and his schedule was already taken up with, running a country, so he wasn't able to make it.
I guess it makes sense. They are busy people, those
Yeah.
presidents, run the U.S. and all that junk.
So, the third question, let's see. Now, some people are afraid of the number 13.
Yes.
So is it true or false that NASA Administrator James Biggs had the numbering system of the Space Shuttle missions renumbered to avoid the number 13?
The Space Shuttle. I mean... I'm gonna say true. I'm gonna say true.
Yeah, it's actually true. Or at least it's part of the motivation behind it.
I was thinking Apollo 13, right?
Because that's part of it. The Space Shuttle missions were named STS-1, STS-2, STS-3,
Yes.
and so on, until they got up to STS-11, and then they decided to have this really complicated naming system where it would have the last number of the calendar year, and then the number of the launch facility, and then a letter corresponding to the launch of that year. It was really complicated. It only lasted a very short amount of time, and they went back to real numbers after that.
Yeah, what the heck? We're not naming like asteroids here or planets here. Like, you can just do numbers. That's fine.
So instead of 20 something, you would have like 51L or something like that.
That's confusing.
So
Glad we ditched that.
moving on. So the Space Shuttle has a fairly complicated system of engines. Is it true or false that in order to deorbit, the Space Shuttle needed to keep a small reserve of fuel on board to fire those 3 Space Shuttle main engines in the back in order to deorbit?
All right. I've seen the movie Space Camp. And if Space Camp is meant to be true, I'm going to say yes, true.
No, it's actually false. Those 3 big engines you see in the back, the Space Shuttle main engines, never fire once they're in space.
Is it the 2 on the...
It's the 2 little small ones.
I remembered the scene wrong. I remember the scene.
Called Ohms engines.
Yes, Ohms burn, yeah.
That fire in order to deorbit the Space Shuttle. Those big engines actually get a free ride once they're in space.
I knew that too. I remember the scene.
So, is it true or false that all 3 of those Space Shuttle main engines combined actually weigh more than an entire locomotive engine car?
No, you said the engine. You don't just mean the nozzle that's at the end that we're talking about. We're talking about the whole thing. Yeah.
Not the entire orbiter, but
just the
engine and the pieces that connect into the engine to make it run.
I would hope so that it weighs more than a locomotive. I don't know why, but I would hope. I feel like if you need that much thrust, it should weigh a lot. So yeah, I'm going true.
It's actually false.
What?
Each Space Shuttle main engine is 1/7 the weight.
You tricked me. You were nodding. You're like, yes, yes. You saw it. He tricked me.
So each of those main engines is only 1/7 the weight of a locomotive engine, because they need to be made out of really lightweight materials to be as efficient as possible.
It's bull. I mean, it makes sense. That's what you would want, but I didn't think it was actually that good.
So, going to the external tank, that big orange tank that you see on the exterior, is it true or false that that was originally intended to be white for a matching color palette for the Space Shuttle stack?
I honestly wouldn't think that the color would have mattered. See, I want to say true, but I got the last one wrong. And white just seems like a waste of paint. I'm gonna say false.
So it's actually true. Damn it. They intended for it to be white, and the first 2 Space Shuttle missions actually had a white external tank, but it cost several hundred pounds of paint.
See?
And that was weight they could put to a payload, so they stopped doing it.
Hold on a second. All right, fine. So you were right, but I was right for the reasons why they didn't do it, because this is a paint.
Yeah, you had the right reasons as to why they stopped.
All right, fine. Whatever.
Okay. So, we're up to 7 now.
No.
In the Space Shuttle,
yes,
in 4 launches, is it true or false that NASA used SR-71 ejection seats from Lockheed Martin in the cockpit?
I would say true.
Yes, it is true. The very first 4 launches had ejection seats built in when they were testing it out, because the crew was only 2 people, pilot and co-pilot, or commander and a pilot. And then they kind of realized that even if they ejected during launch, there's only a small window of survivability, that there really isn't much you can do with them, so they got replaced.
How did they get out? Like, the windows aren't...
The cockpit had a different design.
Oh, okay.
This was also only on Columbia,
Oh.
which was the first 4 flights, so that had a slightly different design when they were checking all the safety.
So I'm assuming the cockpit would just break open and they could just eject out.
Like, they had 2 hatches on top, and those got taken away in further designs.
Okay. That's crazy. Wouldn't want to press that accidentally in space.
So, is it true or false that the most flown space shuttle was Atlantis?
See, this is something that I wish I knew. This is something that I knew that if you would ask me about space shuttles, it would be something like this. And I want to say true. But the last 8 of them have been true. So I'm going to say false.
Yes, it is actually false. Do you know which one did have the most launches?
I'm going to say... Wait.
So I think you know this.
Okay, so there's Atlantis, Endeavour, Discovery, Columbia. I'm going to say Discovery.
Yes. Discovery was known as the workhorse of the fleet. And so that actually had quite a few more launches than Atlantis.
Nice.
Atlantis. Question 9. Is it true or false that those tires that you see the shuttle landing on were filled with nitrogen?
That's true.
Yes, it is true. Because it's flame retardant.
Yeah, you don't want to think of blowing
You don't
up.
want to have pretty much any oxygen in there, because you don't want to risk that at all contributing to a fire.
At any point.
At any point.
No.
Yeah. It's actually a myth that people have in their heads that parachute that they deploy when landing in the back slows down.
Yeah.
The space shuttle, it's actually there to pull on the back so that the nose falls down, and then the tires can slow down the shuttle.
Right.
Now, final question.
And then that e-brake that you pull.
Yeah. So, final question. The maximum safe time for a mission, for a space shuttle mission in space, was 3 weeks.
Maximum. Okay, you mean they're only on the space shuttle? This wasn't like a docking with the International Space Station.
Just with the space shuttle.
3 weeks.
Is it true or false that they had enough power and supplies for 3 weeks?
See, I've heard a few missions that were around that, but not that. I don't know if they were that high. I'm gonna say true. 3 weeks. Nope.
No. It's actually 2 weeks.
That's
The space shuttles don't have, solar panels covering them, so they are heavily reliant on battery power and any power that's generated with their engine mechanisms.
you just put some treadmills in there, man. Treadmills and bikes.
So, yeah, 2 weeks was the max. A few missions were able to, border on that, but usually they didn't try and press that.
Dude, just get them on the bikes. Why not? That was fun. I learned a lot about our space shuttle program. I hope you learned a lot about our space shuttle program. If you did, you should like this video.
Yes.
If you didn't, you should like this video.
Either way.
Yeah,
give us feedback.
Yeah, tell us what your favorite fact was that you learned today in the comments below. You can also support the show by buying t-shirts or mugs over at Spreadshirt.com. You have to put the Out of Space TV ahead of the Spreadshirt. The link's there. There's also a link in the description. Otherwise, hit that subscribe button. That helps us a lot. So we can make more of these Brain Tank episodes because they're fun. I always have a good time.
And if you think they're fun, you can watch some old episodes here to the side.
Over there. There's great stuff. The last one was on Thanksgiving. So if you had a wonderful Thanksgiving, learn about Thanksgiving over in our Brain Tank episode. You can also watch some old space news or some old entertainment news over at the end. But we're out of here because we got things to do. So thank you for watching.
See ya.
We'll see you out there.